Hello, thank you for being with us today. We ordered this snowstorm just to have a beautiful monochromatic background for the rainbow flag to fly today in Salt Lake City. And the sun has come out in celebration with us today. We're here today to celebrate something we've never achieved. We haven't achieved it as a state, we haven't as a capital city, and that's receiving the highest possible score on the Human Rights Campaign's Municipal Equality Index. Salt Lake City received a score of 100 points, which it's tremendous. And as I said, it's not just a first for Salt Lake City. There isn't another city in the state of Utah that's ever received 100 points on this Municipal Equality Index. And it's reflective of the tangible work that we have worked so hard to accomplish as your capital city. And that's around ordinances, it's about policies, it's about the face of the city and the way we engage with our public and the services, both for our residents and for our employees here. Even though I'm proud of our accomplishments as a city, I want to recognize that the majority of cities are not in this position. That of the 500 cities that were studied by the Human Rights Commission, there were about 80% that didn't receive a score of 100. So we are in the minority of cities that have been given this status. And we know in the state of Utah that there is much more work to be done across the board. Last year, in fact, in 2019 rather, right before I took office, we received a score in Salt Lake City of 66. In 2020, we raised that to 75. So how did we make this jump to 100 this year? First and foremost, the city began finally covering gender-affirming surgery, life-saving surgery for our employees and for their dependents. Thank you, City Council, for supporting that request as well. That's part of our normal benefits package to all of our near 3,500 employees with Salt Lake City Corporation. It's a huge shift, and we know that it's improving and probably saving lives. In addition, we made sure that our LGBTQ employees are in some key and visible positions who are out engaging with our community. Also, we've been really diligent in reporting to the Human Rights Campaign the work that we are doing, and that kind of regular communication and evidence has helped us to get our goal of 100. And additional points were given to us for contributions to organizations like the Utah Pride Center and the Utah AIDS Foundation. Even though it's always nice when a national organization sees the work that those of us who live in this capital city are experiencing and what we've long known, it's great to have this score of 100, emphasizing that we are a welcoming and inclusive community for everyone. So thank you to our partner organizations who are standing here with me today, and for all of the work that they do showing up for our residents, helping us advance policy, helping show what a welcoming and loving place Salt Lake City is. Your work is so needed and valued. And I want to thank my team who in the last 2 years have made a lot of phone calls and written a lot of memos, written policy, and then advocated for all of it. Not only to our city council who've ended up supporting these requests, but to our residents and then to the Human Rights Campaign, who help us keep that going. It is our goal to keep our score of 100. So the work is not done. It must continue, and it will be done in the name of diversity and equality and inclusion. And we are passionate and honored to be doing that work here today. I want to turn the time now over to Councilmember Daryn Mano.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for coming here. Thank you, Mayor, for organizing this press conference and inviting me to speak at it. I'm Councilmember Daryn Mano, and I use he, him pronouns. And I want to tell you a story. On January 2nd, 2018, KUER ran a story in the news, and the title was, "The New Salt Lake City Council is the youngest and gayest it's ever been." That article is important to me. It was just after Councilmember Wharton and Councilmember Fowler were elected to the City Council, and they, along with then Councilmember Derek Kitchen, made 3 council members and a mayor that were from the LGBTQ community. That had an impact on me because as a gay man, it told me that my city was a safe place to live. It told me that my leaders had lived experiences that matched my own. But the article did something else for me. I'd always been interested in local government. As an architect, I presented in front of a lot of planning commissions and city councils for my job, and I found the process intriguing. And I knew how important local government was for the urban design of a city and thereby for the quality of life of the people that live in that city. And I'd already been serving on my community council board, as well as serving the city on the redevelopment advisory committee. But seeing that article and knowing that 3 out of the 4 city council members in our capital city were out members of the LGBTQ community gave me permission to, for the very first time, actually see myself in this role and actually imagine myself as a council member. Representation matters. I always knew Salt Lake City was a safe place and that I was among allies living here in this city, but there is a difference between allies and people who actually have the lived experience to understand what it's like to live as a minority. I want to celebrate one other thing today. In a couple of weeks, Salt Lake City Council will be even gayer than it was in 2018. And we will, for the first time, have a majority LGBTQ plus city council. Yeah. But that's not all. 2 years ago, Anna Valdemoros was sworn in as the very first person of color to ever be duly elected to serve on the city council in Salt Lake City. And it's my honor in a couple weeks to join Victoria Petro Eschler and Alejandro Puy to be the second, third, and fourth city council members to ever be elected from as people of color. So our city council is going to be a majority BIPOC, a majority LGBTQ plus, and also majority Spanish speaking. I'm so proud of us for receiving this perfect score, but our work is not done. Even in this city, we have additional things that we can do in order to make us even more affirming and an even safer place for our community. I particularly, as an architect, am interested in Salt Lake City leading the nation in developing things like gender-neutral restrooms in public spaces. I think we have a lot more that we can do, and now with a majority gay city council, it's now our time to truly lead the entire nation in human rights. Thank you all for being here for celebrating this, and I don't know who speaks next. Okay.
I'm going to give just a moment to Councilmember Chris Wharton, who I'm so happy could join us here today, but I'm sorry I didn't recognize you at the beginning. I didn't see you come up. So Chris Wharton, and then we'll hear from Troy Williams after that.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you all for being here. This, of course, means so much to me as well, being an openly gay man who was born and raised in Utah and grew up here, and having that fear from a young age that I may never be able to serve in this role because I was afraid that if I was out, that would foreclose the opportunity for public service for me and an elected office. So this, I think, sends a really powerful signal to people all across the state of Utah, not just in our city, that that can happen in Utah, that progress is happening in Utah, and I hope that it will inspire the next generation of LGBTQ youth to seek elected office and to help us continue to fulfill the dream of Harvey Milk, which is continuing to advance the cause of equality and justice through living openly and honestly about who you love. So thank you so much for being here, and thank you to the mayor for giving me a few minutes to speak about this important day. I appreciate it.
Hi, I'm Troy Williams, the Executive Director of Equality Utah, and I use he, him pronouns. Thank you so much, Mayor Mendenhall, and thank you to the Salt Lake City Council, to the Human Rights Commission, and for everybody who have fought to make this moment possible. Now, a few years ago, the Gallup survey announced that Salt Lake City was the 7th gayest city in America. And then the Williams Institute revealed that Salt Lake City has the highest percentage of same-sex couples raising children in the entire country. So according to Gallup, we are actually gayer than Manhattan and gayer than Los Angeles. San Francisco and Portland still beat us, but we're coming for you. Right? There's a reason why so many LGBTQ people come to Salt Lake City and raise our families here. It's because we know that the mayor and the council have our back and are fighting for us. And you always have. In 2009, Salt Lake City was the first city to pass an LGBTQ non-discrimination ordinance. And that started a domino effect in Park City and in Logan and in West Valley. Municipalities all across the state started recognizing and seeing the importance of non-discrimination protections. Ultimately, that led the way to 2015 when we were able to pass the first state law and really truly the first LGBT law to be passed through a Republican controlled legislature. And it happened because of the leadership of Salt Lake City. You are the capital city. You are the vanguard for equality and justice in the state. Everyone looks to you. We know we are safe here. We know we have a home here. And it takes so many of us to do this work. I'm so grateful to the work of the Utah Pride Center and the Utah AIDS Foundation, again, the Human Rights Commission, and of course, the Human Rights Campaign for working so hard with all of us to make all of these victories possible. And I'm incredibly grateful that we're here with Bruce Bastin, who has been leading and supporting all of our organizations and this movement here in Utah for decades. Bruce understands that it takes more than just a rally and more than just one protest to create change. It's an investment in time and it takes years, but look what all of us have done together. We have created a city that welcomes and embraces our community, and the entire country is looking to us to see what happens next. So thank you all so much for this incredible leadership.
Good afternoon. I'm Bruce Bastin. I'm on the board of directors of the Human Rights Campaign. Today I'm very proud to be a board member of HRC, and this is an example of what the work HRC does around the country. The scoring 100 points on the MEI, of course, is hugely important. But what's really important, I believe, is the work it took to get here. Those 100 points just didn't happen. They're a result of a lot of work for a lot of people for quite a long time. Troy mentioned, we're here because of a lot of work of a lot of people. There's one thing Salt Lake City and Utah have that a lot of other cities don't have, and that's all these people behind me working together. We have a unity in Salt Lake City that other communities just don't have, and we would not be here if we had not all worked together. So just nobody get a big head. Nobody did this alone, and it's going to take all of us to keep it going. There's one thing that nobody has mentioned. So HRC for the MEI, the index, they always make it a little tougher every year. So you're going to have to keep working. It's really important for the people that this affects. You have the younger people of the LGBTQ community who now know and recognize that we have a city, a community that stands with them. Give them hope. Things like this actually save lives. For younger people to know that they have city representatives that listen, that care, can actually mean the difference between life and death for those people. It matters to people in the workforce. LGBTQ people working, going to work every day, coming home every evening. knowing that they can't just be thrown out of their job or their apartment or their home because of who they are. That's really important. That didn't used to be. 30 years ago, I never thought this could happen. But little by little, like one foot in front of the other, we got here. And it's amazing and it's wonderful. As a member of the aging LGBTQ community, I want to say that this means a lot to them too. There are struggles. There are people who are getting to the point of retirement and they want to feel secure in their retirement. They want to feel safe, knowing that maybe they can, if they have to move into a home, that they can move in with their partner or their spouse. There are a lot of aging LGBTQ people who are afraid of that moment. Salt Lake City, for which we are all very proud, is now an example to other cities in the state, other cities around the country. This is a red state. Everybody knows Utah is a red state. So if you can reach these goals in a red state, really anywhere is possible. So we set the bar higher. And thank you, Madam Mayor and City Council members. Thank you for all the work you have done to get us here. This just proves that non-discrimination is a winner. You hear a lot of fear-mongering about this issue from some places, but as we look around and look at the beacon of hope Salt Lake City is, it's a winner for everybody involved. And I'm so proud to be here on behalf of HRC to help recognize this accomplishment. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Stacey Jackson Roberts. You see her pronouns. I'm the new CEO of the Utah Pride Center. It's an honor to be here today and thank Mayor Mendenhall and the City Council for all of the work that they have done to make Salt Lake City a safe and affirming place to live. It's been really an honor to return to my native Utah, come back home and see how much has evolved in the past 20 years. And it's just heartwarming. And it speaks to how much the community has needed this to really feel safe and affirming here, but also how this can actually benefit not only Salt Lake City, but the state of Utah. By providing a safe and affirming place and also benefits, you're making it a place where businesses can come here and thrive and recruit talent to the state. You know, HRC has really led the effort in this effort. I'm really proud of the work that Bruce has done at the Human Rights Campaign over the years. Through various indexes, including the Corporate Equality Index. And they did this based in advancing healthcare for transgender people through a model from San Francisco. The city and county of San Francisco in 2000 wanted to provide inclusive benefits to transgender individuals. And they presumed, being the city and county of San Francisco, they would have about 39 individuals transition each year. And so they, based on their 100,000 subscribers, they added a premium. $1.70 a month, less than a cup of coffee or hot chocolate in Utah. That sounds nice right now. But less than that cost for each individual subscriber. And they found that in 6 years' time, they had collected nearly $6 million and paid out less than $400,000 in benefits. So the cost really isn't there, and it tremendously outweighs the benefit that we can recruit businesses to this city and state to help them thrive, particularly with the work that's going on with Silicon Slopes and whatnot. This is a place that parents can move and know that their children can be safe and come out, be affirmed, receive the medical care that they need. And that's because of work of leaders like Mayor Mendenhall and the City Council. So I want to thank them for the work that they're doing and helping make this a thriving state for the local economy. And also the collaborative work that all of these organizations, Troy Equality of Utah, Encircle, really making a safe and affirming place for folks to come out, learn more about LGBT lived experiences and whatnot. And I really welcome making the table bigger and really making this an even better place to live for LGBTQ individuals and their families. Thank you.